plan was to offer actually five modules throughout this duration. The first module was to have a cross-cultural sensitivity training for all the staff, teachers, artists that were involved. And then we had our 4 modules planned. So our creative dance module that I was to lead, the First Nations module that Terrence Littletent came in to lead. We had our Ghanaian dance module with God Knows Kumasa, and then this org pedagogy with Sophia. We wanted to work together, and out of that came this idea of, well, since we want to collaborate, what can we do for the community and for our children, and how can we bring our strengths to the table to not only really support the kids, but the teachers through professional development. So thank you, parents, for listening to your child. 2, for taking that moment to acknowledge the teachers that, are the capable guardians taking care of your kids. 3, for really entrusting us with your kids. And more importantly, thank you for being involved in supporting your child by coming to our final presentation. Hi, I'm Chance Perry. I'm one of the lead artists. I'm an interdisciplinary artist. I think providing the kids with exposure to diverse dance styles was important to just develop some awareness in these different, dance forms. To be involved in creative dance, African dance, hip-hop dance, ORF, just helps to kind of give them a little taste of what else is out there.
My name is Katie Gannon. I'm a violinist in Regina. I play with the Regina Symphony Orchestra. I had an idea of what Chance wanted to do with the kids, but I wasn't quite sure how it was all going to fit together. When I showed up, seeing what he's doing and interacting with the kids, and I feel like there's a lot more freedom to just kind of jump in whenever I can and go along with whatever he's doing. And you're just part of what's happening and what Chance is doing it. You're actively involved the same way the kids are. So you're kind of part of them and seeing what's going to happen next. A lot of it is improvisation, and which is fun. And it's not something I get to do very often.
In every exercise, there's some literature, there's numeracy, in addition to exploring the various dance styles. We do it through play, through exploration. Very open to allowing the kids to, bring their own ideas into the space and share them, and help to collaborate as they're gaining exposure to the different music and dance forms. We're not teaching them to be actors or singers or dancers or hoop dancers, but we're just using the art form as a vehicle for physical expression, for, again, building those social relationships, for, gaining knowledge and understandings. I've never seen so much laughter and so much fun as the kids are playing these games that are really helping them to develop skills. I'm just really excited to have Terrence Littletent with us. He's bringing to the classroom, his beliefs, his customs, but most importantly, it's really his culture that he's going to be sharing. And then with Terrence's module, we decided we're going to have the students make their own hoops and dance with them. And I'm seeing the same sort of benefits of like having students involved in this, because there's a hand-eye coordination that's happening. They are, again, developing, coordination skills and endurance skills and flexibility and working with not only like locomotively and non-locomotively, but adding these elements like dynamics and working relationships together, and it's just been so miraculous to watch them develop.
As you learn each hoop as you go along, there is a teaching, there's a lesson, and there is a custom of tradition bringing Mother Nature and human beings together to create, this wonderful story. And so when I'm teaching, I always make sure that I make it fun, I make it educational, and I always have different stages that I go through in teaching hoop dance, like with the 5 basic teachings of hoop dance, is to listen, watch, learn, respect. And then we have the 5 basic stages of hoop dancing, which we call the birth stage, calling the spirit, the mother and father stage. Then we have stacking, weaving, which is weaving your culture, making it strong, learning your knowledge of who you are. And then the last, putting all of the 5 hoops together to create the story, to make it understand this is you in life as we walk. So those are the things that I want to bring to these children, is to build their self-esteem. When they see this dance in their mind, they would say, I can't do that. So when I go in there and educate them and teach them, they break it down, and so allow them to see firsthand it's easy to do, but you just gotta take it step by step. Now, and 2, 3, 4. Take out your hoop.
We started off with an introduction to creative dance. And then next we wanted to bring it all to sort of like, Treaty 4 territory by exploring the First Nations culture. And next we intend on stepping outside of Canada and going all the way to Africa to look at some of the similarities between, our traditional cultures. Students will be able to see how important the circle is in First Nations culture as it is in African culture. How important rhythm and beat and language is as well.
We're going to share the rhythms of Gahu dance, how music and culture go together, people's daily lives, especially in Africa, how it's involved music and dance and all that. I will try to communicate that to them, and also how to learn how to play some of the drums and the rhythms. Sometimes it's a little difficult, complicated for young kids, but we'll try and see if they can just break it down simply for them, so that they'll be able to do it. Yeah. The kids were very enthusiastic about the drums, and the teachers were very cooperating and very involved with the kids, and trying to make sure that everything was going well.
For me, it was a huge celebration to come to this point. We had helped to develop some of these skills and abilities in the kids, and in the first module, and then the second module, which is basically the last module for these PM groups, I wanted to see if they would be even more confident and be even more willing to explore, and they were more than giving.
An approach to teaching music that is kinesthetic, it's oral, it's auditory. It's a way of knowing music, but through the body and through doing. Through speech, improvisation, instrumentation, voice, and use story and use songs and used ostinatos and layering of rhythmic speech and so forth. And then using body percussion with the body and transferring that to the instruments, which are the barred instruments, the metallophones, xylophones, glockenspiels. I want children to be engaged in learning and engaged in another way of knowing and another way of discovering the knowing.
Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again.
And there is our story. Through these progressive programs that are, self-inquiry based or explorative, kids are going to make their own decisions and come up with their own ideas, and it'll be done in a progressive way as opposed to it being imposed on them.
Far away from the light and closer to the screen, and look, I just got smaller.
It's smaller.
And if I move far away from the screen and I get closer to the light, what happens?
You get bigger.
And places from the beginning again, please.
7, 8. Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the queen's horses and all the queen's men. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Couldn't put Humpty together again.
They come to the realization that I can do this. It's not that bad.
Little Miss Dumpty sat on a rock, eating her birthday cake. And frightened Miss Muffet away.
The minute you and the artist walked in, the kids lit up. Like they were just ready to go and they were excited to find out what they were going to do. And so was I.
Watching certain children blossom in this type of situation, it wasn't necessarily the kids that I expected. And just some of them, the way they kind of shone, and it gave them a chance to be creative, and I saw many of them in a different way, in a different light.
Their engagement, but how that engagement was brought back into the classroom, right? So we would go, and they were so interested in everything that we were doing, but it became part of our everyday in the classroom. Like I think about when Terrence came and he taught to them that very first day about the 5 teachings. For weeks after, my kids kept bringing those back up, and there was such a beautiful way to integrate that knowledge into our everyday classroom. And that's just like one snippet of example. Like, so in both the units, they're bringing those things back and into the classroom and taking the knowledge that they've learned in the project into their everyday life.
I just found too that the confidence in the children, like some of the children not speaking English or just learning, really beginning early stages, and the first few classes, like singing, humming, not singing, but humming and making that connection to what we're doing, and also watching the children even just, you know, playing today and just really engaged. They didn't need to know the language. They're watching, and they're gaining so much from hearing and watching the other students.
When you read and when they talked about what they got out of it, and you hear somebody say, you know, dancing the Gahu dance makes me feel brave, right? Like something like that. You can't write that in a curriculum, and you can't plan that in your year plan. But when something like that happens, it's magical, and so it really has been just wonderful.
Having them in such a progressive environment that's self-inquiry based, where they can make their own decisions and express themselves in the way they want, really helped to show how intelligent and how capable these kids are. As a closing note, I just want to thank God for the opportunity that we've had and this experience in working together, because I feel like I've also made some new friends.
Absolutely.
And we have to thank, of course, our funder. Like, we would not be here without the Sask Arts Board. So maybe a 1, 2, 3, thank you, Sask Arts Board.
Thank you,
Sask Arts Board. All right.
It makes a difference. You made a dream come true.
Thank you.